Have we?
Well, I've had our mics muted, but I forgot to put the waiting screen on. Um, but it's okay. We didn't do anything scandalous.
I did.
You did? You're telling
Yeah.
us? You're telling us you did something scandalous?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're you normally intro the show.
Oh yeah, I do, don't I? Sorry, it's been a minute. Um, Howdy. Welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I feel like I'm getting a sore throat. Um, Today we are talking about wrestling. Something that we normally don't talk about. That's a joke. We
Oh.
always talk about wrestling.
It's been a while since we've done this podcast with the two of us. Last weekend was just me. I think the weekend before that was just me. Or not the weekend before that, but the last time we did one, which is a while before that.
I don't know.
But ideally, we are returning to the normal schedule. We're doing it at 11 a.m. instead of 1 p.m. like we originally said because I've got a shoot to get to at 1. And last weekend, I did it at 10 a.m. because I had to take our cat to the vet. So,
Woo!
yeah.
She's fine, by the way.
She's
Just
fine.
fat.
She's not fat. She just gained 2
Sounds
pounds.
fat. That's a lot for a cat.
She's not fat. I've seen some fat
She's
cats.
17
She is not
pounds.
fat.
Yeah, she's fat.
No, definitely not. Um, so this is going to be really interesting because you haven't really watched any wrestling this week. You
No, I have not.
watched SmackDown and Rampage yesterday, but you didn't stick around for the main event of Rampage.
No,
Um,
I was around for the main event. It was a short one. I walked in just as they rang the bell.
oh, okay. Because I saw you were. I remember you were in and out.
I was in and out, yeah.
Um, and you just came back on Thursday from a trip, so you didn't really get to see any wrestling prior to yesterday. So this will be a lot of me recollecting and you getting first impressions.
Yeah.
Um, and we're also gonna do our predictions for Impact Overdrive after our recap, and that's coming up next Friday. Next podcast, we'll do our predictions for Full Gear as well as New Japan's historic crossover, which is happening Monday, the 20th. So we've got a lot going on next 2 weeks.
This
So
light is like bright.
you said the light's bright?
It's like too bright.
It's the morning. We're not used to doing it in the mornings yet. But I feel like we'll get used to it. So
Well, we're not normally doing it in the morning anyways.
yeah, but afternoon, morning, it's the same sunlight.
Oh, it's different now because I've got the curtains shut because it's cold out
Oh
and
yeah,
I'm trying to keep the heat in.
yeah, that's fair. Doesn't help that we still have the AC unit there.
It doesn't help that our landlord hasn't turned the heat on.
Sure. All right. Well, let's get into some news before we start recapping some of the biggest news stories this past week. First off, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He is, I wouldn't say he's starring, but he's going to be in A24's movie The Iron Claw, which is about the Von Erichs. He's
Tragic little family.
Yes, very tragic. And he's starring as Lance Von Erich, which is the Von Erich that's not actually a Von Erich.
What does that mean?
He doesn't actually hold the name. He's not part of the family, but he was gimmicked as a Von Erich.
Oh, okay, I remember now.
Yeah.
Because he was brought in after like one of them died.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so.
because they were like, "Oh shit, we've got to have another brother."
Yeah. Worked most of his life as a real estate agent. I checked out his Wikipedia today while putting together the news. Didn't realize that like his Wikipedia is not very long. It's just like his personal life. He was a real estate agent, got into wrestling, and that's it.
He wasn't really that impressive as a wrestler, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that's why the whole thing failed.
Mm. But the movie stars Zac Efron as wait, which Von Erich does he play? I forget.
I think he plays the one that's still alive. I could be
Really? I thought
wrong.
he was the one that um
Killed himself?
he plays Kevin Von Erich. And Kevin Von
I'll be
Erich
honest, I can't tell the difference by
uh
name.
Kevin Von Erich. Oh, he is still alive. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's the one with the two sons that were on MLW.
Right. I forget that those guys are in MLW still. Um but that's really cool. It looks like a really interesting movie, and Zac Efron puts a lot of passion to any project he does, and MJF is a wonderful performer. So I'm sure it's going to be a great
I'm
movie.
excited to see him act.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Um, in other news, the 24/7 championship is officially retired. If you go into WWE's website and see their list of championships, all the active ones say blank year to present. This now says, I think it was, I forget what year it was, but blank year to 2022. And weirdly, it has the last champion being Dana Brooke, not Nikki Cross.
Fuck that.
Yeah. But for those that watched Raw, and we'll get more into this once we recap Raw, Nikki Cross dumped the title in the trash, or tried to. She missed, but the point was she's putting it in the trash, and that was Triple H's way of retiring it. Good riddance. There are people that loved that title. Like, I was scrolling through Instagram, like these wrestling accounts. They were like, this awesome title was just retired by being thrown in the trash. It sucks, but it's like, you really like that garbage title? It looked hideous. And it was
I don't get that.
It was a comedy title.
Yeah. I'm that I don't get that, but okay.
If people trash on wrestling Twitter all the time for garbage takes, but from what I've experienced, wrestling Instagram is a whole lot worse.
I think wrestling Instagram, the general age pool is much younger.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like
So
you have a lot of stans on Instagram, and on Twitter you have a lot of people just trying to make hot takes.
a lot of fanboys.
Yeah. Moving on, at Crown Jewel, Logan Paul and Roman Reigns had a ridiculously good match until the second half happened. And Logan Paul had some incredible spots in the match too, including a dive off the top turnbuckle onto Roman Reigns in the announce desk, which was caught on Instagram. He made a selfie the whole time. But Logan Paul revealed in his Instagram story after the match that he suffered a torn meniscus, MCL, and ACL as a result of that match. It goes to show, because he did perform a buckshot lariat, no one besides Hangman can perform a buckshot lariat and come out in one piece.
Hangman's got the secret sauce.
And that does make me wonder with Logan Paul, because he did the I am the table bit, which he said was him just trying to be creative. Did he watch AEW and see a buckshot lariat from Hangman and be like, I want to do that? Or did he just like try and come up with it himself? I feel like he had to have.
I feel like he had to have watched
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Unless somebody was like, or yeah, I haven't seen it, but as much as I fucking hate the guy, I have to admit he's a good fucking wrestler.
It's one thing if he was just like, I'm just gonna, like, WWE's big, I'm just gonna get into it real quick. But if he's like been watching a lot of wrestling, watching AEW, WWE, and all that, and more props, more respect. So next up, it was revealed that Bandito is now officially part of the AEW roster. He's been signed and All Elite. I don't know if he got the All Elite graphic yet.
He did. Tony Khan tweeted it, and Bandito responded like, "Thank you for believing in me." And I was like,
Aw. Now push him to the moon.
Yeah, he's so good.
But he revealed. He revealed with I think it was SC Scoops that he did an interview with. Wrestling Observer, the Wrestling Observer reported on this that Bandito chose AEW over WWE because primarily of his family. He didn't want to move his family to Florida for the Performance Center. And he figured that being featured on the main roster, he'd be seeing his family a lot less. So, it's good to see that he's got his priorities in order. And also good to see that maybe WWE had considered him and reached out to him.
Yeah, I mean they're not stupid. And I'm sure anybody can see his talent. Okay. Sure anybody can see his talent. It makes me feel better knowing that they reached out to him, because that means that like we're actually trying.
Yeah. And he is an incredible talent that needs to be shot to the moon. He's got so much charisma. He's got an insane look. He kills it in the ring every time, as we just saw against Roosh from yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a former Ring of Honor champion. But
he is. I always forget that, honestly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another reason why they really wanted him, because he was Ring of Honor.
Yeah. It doesn't help that he got the shit end of the stick when Ring of Honor folded, because everyone treated Gresham as the Ring of Honor champion at the time, when he was just, you know, for lack of a better word, interim.
Yeah. That really did suck. That was like so stupid.
Yeah. But hopefully he gets better luck in AEW. He's probably not going to win the tournament. He's 100% not going to win the tournament, but hopefully he gets a shot at that TNT belt. Maybe holds it for a little while. And lastly, AEW Fight Forever, their video game, their answer to the 2K series, was rumored, according to WrestleZone, to release on Xbox Game Pass day one of its release. And for those that don't know, Xbox Game Pass is a subscription service. It's considered one of the best deals in gaming, where you subscribe and you just get free games, like once a month, I think. And it's a lot of times it's really big games that you can get. And this was supposed to be, or rumored to be, on that subscription. But AEW, in a recent, I think it was a press release or a tweet or something, they dispelled those rumors, saying that it won't be a part of any game subscription service. They made a post, giving all this good news about it, and they were like, well, gotta make some bad news. Won't be on any service. Which is unfortunate, because that would have been a really great move, considering a lot of people are kind of iffy on how the game looks right now.
Yeah.
That would have gotten a lot of people into it, invested in it.
Yeah. It would have been smart, but maybe they got a reason. Maybe it's like a financial thing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
And also, they probably, you know what else it probably is?
Well,
They probably want to know, like, how many people are going to play it. And maybe it's easier to find out, like, how many people are playing it if it's not just part of a subscription service and they actually have to, like, go and buy, like,
they want to get those launch sales.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So maybe it will be on it at some point, but
I would definitely say never say never.
yeah. All right. You ready to start recapping this week in wrestling?
Recap
We've
away!
got everything from Crown Jewel to today. So, Crown Jewel. We started off that event with Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, which was a great match. And Brock Lesnar just barely won while by pinning Bobby Lashley while in the middle of a hurt lock. And Bobby retaliates by putting the hurt lock back on after the match, looking strong as hell. And he continues looking strong even on Raw, where he wanted to accept that open challenge that Seth put out. We also got an ad for War Games, where they announced that it will be 10 competitors in the War Games matches. So no damage control, everything, all titles on the line. No titles will be on the line for War Games, looks like. Speaking of damage control, we got damage control versus Alexa Bliss and Asuka for the women's tag titles. And damage control wins via some interference from Nikki Cross, where she dropped Alexa Bliss off the top turnbuckle. So damage control have those titles.
They're the tag champions now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alexa and Asuka had them for, I think, the shortest reign now.
It just never made sense that they got rid of damage control as the tag champions, because, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, why bother putting it on them if you're just going to swap it back?
Plus, like, they're, like, a really cohesive tag team, whereas Alexa and Asuka are not.
Yeah. This does put they probably just wanted a title change at Crown Jewel, honestly, because no other titles changed hands, and I'm sure the Saudis were like, yeah, let's, make something big, have a title swap. So afterwards we have a promo from Alexa Bliss and Asuka, and the Bray Wyatt logo pops up in the background, and Alexa Bliss kind of reacts to it. Kind of foreshadowing a future Wyatt 6 member. We then had Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a steel cage. Wasn't a very good match. Drew wins by escaping the cage. They were racing. Karrion was trying to run out the door while Drew climbed out, and Drew just beat Karrion. They gotta remove the door from the cage. Like, that's so stupid and anticlimactic.
Yeah. It's a really dumb way to fucking win.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And the fact that the ref can just open the door for you, I don't know. That's dumb.
they should, like, have, like, a heavy duty lock on it that you have to, like, break through at the very least, like, so there's some effort involved.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Scarlett, she kind of got involved in the match. Like, Drew was trying to walk out the door. Scarlett put a lock on the door, said, no way, you're not getting through. And Drew, with the best comedic timing, just looks up at the top of the cage and goes to climb out. It's
I love
so
him.
silly. The match also had Scarlett bringing out Mace again, pepper spraying Drew and a ref.
I thought you were talking about Marseille, and I was like, who?
Oh no, imagine.
Wow.
We then had Judgment Day versus the OC, 6-man tag match, where Judgment Day won with a coup de grace from Finn Balor. I think it was on to Carl Anderson, which makes sense. We then unfortunately had Braun Strowman versus Omos, where Braun picked up the win with a running power slam, and then Braun proceeded to tweet about how amazing the match was. It got 47 stars, which was probably 47 one stars.
Good lord.
He slammed high flyers because he was like, see what big men can do, and that sparked some great responses from Mustafa, who retorted,
Yeah.
teach me how to get fired.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay had a great response, which was like, you guys did great, but why trash other wrestlers too?
Wow, Will Ospreay, voice of reason. You hate to see it.
Weirdly, Will Ospreay's been a voice of reason in a bunch of ways lately. The Gabriel Kidd stuff, a bunch of smaller stuff on the way too. But next up we had the Usos versus Brawling Brutes, where the Usos won with a Super 1D. They started off trying to get a count out and just walk out, but Brawling Brutes decided otherwise. This was a fantastic match. Not my match of the night, but still an amazing match. Next, we had Bayley versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship in a last woman standing match. And Bianca wins by trapping Bayley inside of a ladder stuck in the turnbuckles. This was my match of the night. This was incredible. It featured a very slow.
I haven't heard anything about this match.
Really?
Yeah.
It featured a very slow golf cart spot where.
Okay, I saw that part.
I think it was Bayley was driving a golf cart very slowly.
No, Bianca was.
Oh, Bianca was? It was like the slow trolley spot from Austin Powers. It was so great.
I've referenced that Austin Powers. I've referenced Austin Powers like 3 or 4 times in the past week, and I don't think anybody knew what I was talking about the entire time. Because I was talking about like the scene with like where he's in the tunnel, and he's got to like shimmy the cart that he's on out.
Yeah, he's like perpendicular to the walls.
Yeah, and I made a joke because I was in a car that had to be parallel parked, and I was trying to see if like a spot was big enough. And I said, I got back in and I was like, you're gonna have to Austin Powers it. And my sister was like, I don't know what that means. And I was like,
see, I haven't even
what was funny?
I haven't seen Austin Powers and I get those references. But anyway, Bray Wyatt then comes out, as was alluded to. He talks about wearing the Fiend mask. He says he felt untouchable in the mask. He's here to rewrite the ending to his story. But then Uncle Howdy appears on the screen, basically says you can't escape wearing the mask. He knows the truth, etc., etc. I'm very excited to see where this Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy stuff goes. I don't think we got any of it on SmackDown this week.
No, we only got him interacting with LA
Knight. Then finally, we had Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And Roman Reigns wins via spear. We had Jake Paul come out and lay out the Usos, which is fucking stupid. Solo Sikoa came out as well, and the Impulsive guys were brought out from the audience. The second half of this match was extremely overbooked. Very dumb. But the first half, where it was just Paul and Roman, is incredible. But also, in a way, very dumb, because there's no way Logan Paul, after wrestling 2 matches, could even compare to Roman Reigns. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't buy it. I think he lasted longer than Rey Mysterio did in Hell in a Cell. Like, and they completely tossed away the one lucky punch storyline that they were going for this whole time, because he got that one punch in, and then Roman just kicked out. It was. I think this match is very much overrated. People
Okay.
freak out about it. I much prefer. Like, I think the Finn Balor match was better than this, even though that had the very stupid turnbuckle spot.
I don't like to remember that.
Me neither. So that was Crown Jewel. We then had New Japan's Battle Autumn finale. We started off the night with Titan and Bushi versus Francesco Akira and TJP for the junior tag titles. Akira and TJP won via the Leaning Tower, which is Akira's finisher, looks like. That was a super fun match. Francesco Akira is just an immense talent that adds so much to the junior division. Same with Titan. We then had United Empire versus Toriano, Alex Zane, David Finlay, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. And United Empire wins via Borealis from Aussie Open. And apparently that was Aussie Open's first win in New Japan Prime.
Really?
Yeah. So glad that they're now being taken more seriously in New Japan, and they're being featured prominently. We then had Hikuleo versus Yujiro Takahashi. This was originally supposed to be Hikuleo versus Carl Anderson for the Never Openweight title, but due to conflicts with Crown Jewel, Yujiro Takahashi stepped up, and Hikuleo won via chokeslam in 28 seconds. So, we then had Ren Narita versus Sanada in the TV title tournament. Ren Narita won with a Narita special number 4. Very fun match. Very, very great. And speaking of great, we then had Evil versus Zack Sabre Jr. in the same tournament. And Zack Sabre Jr. wins via ground clover. He won very fast, like under 5 minutes.
Well, usually his matches against Evil are very fast because the whole point is that he's trying to out Evil.
Yeah. And this match was funny. I don't know if you've seen anything about this match, but
I've seen enough to know.
He had a promo before where he had a young lion dressed up as him, but he like did the voice still. And then he had he came out, had like his hat down, hands in his pockets, and just stood on the ramp. And that was another young lion dressed up as him. That distracted, I think it was Dick Togo who came out with Evil. And meanwhile, Zack came out from behind, attacked Evil. This was so great. I don't know why Zack isn't featured more on New Japan, because all of his moments are just wonderful.
I just love that. I love that it's a consistent thing with his matches with Evil.
Yeah.
That he just tries to fuck around.
Yeah.
I love it. Because, like, the worst thing in the world is a match with Evil that's supposed to be, like, a real match.
Right. They should be like comedy matches.
Yeah.
Which they finally figured out lately, but there's the occasional ones that are not comedy. But yeah, that match was a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, we then had Master Wato and El Desperado versus Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi. They took all the members of that Fatal 4-Way happening, I think, at Wrestle Kingdom, and put them in a tag match where they drew numbers to get the tag teams. And this was fantastic. Master Wato and Despe won via a flying knee from Taiji, knocking out Hiromu. And the entire match, Taiji's just sitting on the apron, not wanting to get in at all. And Hiromu's like wrestling the entire match, and then Taiji finally gives a shit, and then only to knock out Hiromu at the end. The personalities in this match were just so fun.
there was a promo afterwards in like the backstage comments that was like very intensely like homoerotic in a special little way between Hiromu and Despy, as one would expect it to be.
Oh yeah.
Where they were like, "I love you, but like also I want to kill you," and like shit like that. I was like, okay.
As I would expect from Despy and Hiromu.
Yeah.
But this was the best Can They Coexist match I've ever seen. This was that done right. We then had Okada and Tama Tonga versus Jay White and Kenta, and Okada and Tama won via gun stun. That was an okay match. It was, classic champion versus challenger in a tag team. But we then had FTR versus Jeff Cobb and Great Khan. FTR winning with a big rig. This was incredible. This match was so awesome. And proof that FTR needs to be in New Japan more often.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a really incredible tag team, and I feel like I don't know if it's like on purpose, but they definitely don't get enough recognition on AEW.
It's probably because of the mix with AEW and like having to make those dates while, trying to get to New Japan. But and it's probably also like AEW doesn't want them to lose the titles because they don't want them to lose to anyone. But Tony Khan needs to let go of his guys, especially considering FTR isn't on TV very often.
Yeah.
And I feel like them showing up in New Japan only benefits AEW.
Yeah. It's like ambassadors.
Yeah. It's like, let them go on this little stint while you're not... Like, they got rid of the rankings pretty much, so them being number one contenders doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
But we then had the main event after that. Will Ospreay versus Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP United States Championship. This was in-fucking-credible. This was absolute match of the week right here. Will Ospreay wins via Stormbreaker, and I definitely recommend everyone watches this match. And Will Ospreay even said after the match, like, I am making this belt worth shit. And if you look at past reigns, he's absolutely right. He's defending against great opponents in amazing matches and actually having people give a shit about this title. So, and I feel like maybe Kenta could have done that had he not gotten injured. But
yeah,
unfortunately, we had to wait till now.
Yeah, because Kenta's like kidneys almost got punctured.
Yeah. So after that match, Ospreay was like, well, does anyone else want to challenge for this? There's no one else. Not a single person is left, even though he's only like defended it a handful of times. There's a lot of people left. The lights go out, and who comes out but Shota Umino? He challenges Ospreay for that title, lays out all of United Empire, and apparently he's no longer called the Shooter. He's called the Roughneck, which is stupid. That is a bad name.
Well, I thought he was only called Shooter because that was Mox's nickname for him.
Which is like, it's a nice origin for a nickname, you know? It's cute.
Yeah.
But Roughneck? What does Roughneck even mean?
I felt like a roughneck is like a blue collar worker.
Is it? I mean, that makes sense.
Here's my mouse.
But I feel like regardless, it doesn't fit Shota. I don't know.
No, you're right. A roughneck is a term for a person whose occupation is hard manual labor.
Yeah, that doesn't really fit. Like, I could see Mox being the roughneck because he looks like a blue-collar worker. I don't know. He looks grizzled. Shota Umino doesn't. Not at all.
No.
Shooter would be a much better name. He looks like a shooter. But Shota versus Ospreay will be happening at Historic Crossover on the 20th. So, that's probably going to be another incredible match.
Yeah.
So we then had a Monday Night Raw. We started off with a promo from the Usos, which featured an interruption from the New Day. Incredible promo cut by both sides. New Day, Xavier talking about like fucking coming up from the bottom, like originally debuting the New Day to boos from the crowd and working tirelessly to get them over. Absolute passion-filled promo. And then only to be interrupted by Riddle coming out with his bongos, saying, "Anyone want a hit of my bong?" Stupid shit that takes me back to Vince McMahon times.
Yeah.
And that just led to Matt Riddle and the New Day versus the Usos and Solo Sikoa, which the Usos and Solo won via spinning solo. We then had a JBL promo, which was another garbage promo. This time he talked about snowflakes and the like. It was terrible. This JBL shit is not good. I hope it only results in Corbin turning on him and breaking off from that shit. Maybe getting a face turn. Actually, no. I don't want him to stay heel. He's a good heel.
Yeah, heel is fine. He likes being heel.
Yeah.
But this JBL shit is
make him a tweener.
Painful.
Corbin would be a good tweener.
Yeah, he would be.
Kind of like Seth, where like he's a heel, but he's so over with the crowd that nobody boos him. But that just led to Baron Corbin versus Cedric Alexander, where Corbin won via End of Days. A really cool match. We then were supposed to have
seen the End of Days in ages.
Yeah, this was like an End of Days where Cedric was slingshotting off of the ropes and landed into an End of Days. It was so cool. Then had Seth Rollins supposed to be putting on an open challenge for the US title. Judgment Day comes out. Finn initially accepts, saying that he lost gold because of Seth, which was that injury that he got. Was it the shoulders that or his neck?
His shoulder got dislocated.
Okay. We've seen that match too.
Yeah, it was at SummerSlam 2016, I think.
Makes sense.
Either it was then or that was when Shane McMahon knocked himself out. I can't remember.
I don't know.
But SummerSlam 2016 stands out in my mind for a reason, and it has to be one of those two things.
I think you're right about it being for Finn. But then the OC comes out, and Seth kind of dips because he sees this as just a face-to-face between the two factions. And this is so great. AJ Styles is like, well, we couldn't find a counter to Rhea, and you hear Rhea shout from the commentary desk, it's because nobody likes you. But then AJ says, we couldn't find her because she found us. And then Mia Yim attacks Rhea Ripley. She's returned to WWE. It's so cool. Her being paired with the OC is a great fit. And her versus Rhea will be an awesome match.
Triple H is just recouping all the people he lost, honestly.
Yeah, which is good. Because they were all people that shouldn't have been lost in the first place. We then had Otis versus Elias, and Otis wins via World's Strongest Slam. We then had Austin Theory versus Shelton Benjamin, where Theory won via A-Town Down. This was a lot of fun. That match was really good. We had a promo from The Miz, kind of acknowledging the investigation that Gargano made last week. And he said his dad is even on Johnny's side. Then Johnny comes out. He plays a video of The Miz admitting Johnny was right the whole time, which was that The Miz paid Dexter Lumis to kind of be a celebrity stalker, get him more noticed. And then The Miz eventually stopped paying Dexter, and now Dexter came back to collect. And Johnny's just like, all you gotta do is just pay Dexter. That's all you have to do. But the best part of this promo was Johnny saying, I even brought my universal remote from home to connect to the Tron.
Oh my god.
It was so great. So great. But that just led to Johnny versus The Miz, where The Miz won via a shot with a turnbuckle that he grabbed from under the ring. He faked being pulled under the ring and grabbed a turnbuckle. Told the ref, there's a guy under there. Check it out. And he took the opportunity to hit Johnny with that. But then Dexter...
That's the stupidest thing he's ever done.
Yeah, The Miz is crafty. Very crafty. There's a reason he's been in all those Marine movies.
Yeah, that's why.
But he's then attacked by Dexter Lumis, who smacks him with a chair. We then get a damage control promo with Nikki Cross, where Dakota's happy that Nikki's on their side. And that leads to Nikki Cross versus Dana Brooke for the 24/7 championship. Nikki Cross wins, and we then have a promo afterwards where Nikki is kind of like staring up, walking, and just pulls the title off, goes in the trash. So great. Fuck that title.
Yeah.
And you see,
Nothing but pain.
Since removing that title, R-Truth has been featured a lot more prominently.
Which is good, because, like, I think that was the only good thing about the title.
Yeah.
Was R-Truth having it. And then when they started, like, making it, like, a whole, like, thing, it was like, this isn't fun.
Now, unfortunately, he is injured, so he won't be featured for a while now, but...
He can still do promos.
Yeah, he could do promos. I think he went through surgery, and I think it went well.
That's good.
So we then had what was supposed to be another open challenge from Seth. Bobby Lashley, or first, Mustafa accepted on the Tron, but then Bobby attacks him, throws him into a box, accepts the challenge, and he then they continue brawling, or Bobby and Mustafa continue brawling, but then Bobby comes out, beats the hell out of Seth. The match never starts. Theory comes out, takes the opportunity to cash in, but Bobby beats they have like a match. Seth kicks out of everything that Austin Theory pulls out, and as he's about to get the win with an A-Town down, Bobby pulls the ref out, beats the shit out of Theory, and puts him back in the ring, where Seth gets a stomp to win, and Theory no longer has the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Nice.
Unless they pull some
the Lord's word.
Wrestling court thing where Theory says, well, Bobby messed up my chances.
Don't speak that evil into the world. They will do that.
I don't know if Triple H would do that. I don't know. Maybe this was some kind of reset to kind of like get it out of Theory's hands, reset Theory's character, and you know, continue anew. Because Triple H likes Austin Theory, as we've seen from his NXT days.
Does he?
Yeah, he was featured very prominently there.
Yeah, I guess in a different vibe.
Yeah, maybe like now that he's kind of experienced his extremely low, he's gonna go over to Johnny and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, man, for everything I did. I'm seeing a new light since I got my head caved in by Bobby and Seth." I don't know. I'm hoping for the best with this.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Theory's
I just
his gimmick in NXT was great.
yeah, that was fun.
Proved that
His
he had
gimmick now
comedic
is
chops.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it is painful now, and especially seeing on fucking oh fuck, who's Grayson Waller's gimmick on NXT is basically Theory's gimmick on main roster, but better. You know, the whole selfie thing, the whole social media influencer thing. Theory's is very one note. Grayson actually takes it a whole nother step.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
So that's the end of Raw, and speaking of NXT, we start that off with Joe Gacy versus Cameron Grimes, and Joe Gacy, he no longer has like the pants and the button up gear. He's now got actual wrestling gear, and it like closely resembles his indie gear.
Oh, like what's it look like?
It's like black trunks, knee pads, and boots. Let's see, Joe Gacy. Let's see if I can find a picture from this past NXT. Let's see. Joe Gacy versus Cameron Grimes. I think it has like the smiley face on it too. Yeah, this is all his last match with him, not his most recent one. Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, he's got black trunks, a knee pad with a smiley face on it, and Gacy right on the ass of the trunks. It looks good. It's not like his waiter gear.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm slowly turning on this faction in a good way. We then had a promo between Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Frazier is apparently injured after their match together. And JD McDonough steps in, says he's going to show Axiom some real pain, and their match is set for later. We then have the barbershop segment with Carmelo and Trick. Nothing really big happens there except Carmelo and Trick kind of acknowledge Wesley is a good opponent, good champion. But Carmelo wants that title back. We get another message from Scripts. This is like text on the Trons, like all around the CWC. And then that led to Sol Ruca versus Elektra Lopez. Elektra picked up the win with a powerbomb, and then Indy attacks Elektra after the match. Indy just needs to get called up already.
Yeah.
She's so good. So good.
She is.
We then get a Chase U hype promo, which has Thea Hale fucking electric, and Duke is also hyped as well. Man, I'm hoping Duke stays face, because this is so good. He and Thea are such a great duo.
And he's like funny.
He's so funny. Duke is the whole package. Except maybe he could be a little better in the ring. He's fine in the ring.
He could be, but like but he also is like very good at selling moves and making them look nasty.
Remember that uppercut he did on Ikemen? Where he nailed him square in the chin? He needs that to be his finisher, but like all his opponents need to be told, look, you're gonna take an uppercut straight to the chin, you just have to take it.
Yeah, honestly, I think maybe like he could be finessed a little more, sure.
Yeah, but he's got all the charisma in the world.
Yeah.
He has a great walkout too.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. I'm also partial because I love Duke.
Mm-hmm. How could you not?
I don't know.
So then we get Charlie Dempsey versus Andre Chase. Duke tried to help by pushing the rope towards Chase so that he could reach it while in the crossface. Chase tells him no, don't help. He's trying to get Duke out of being a heel and using heel tactics. So Duke, instead, while Chase is trying to fight out, he throws in the towel to make sure that Chase isn't hurt anymore and doesn't quit. But Chase is like, why the hell would you do that? I was fighting out. So kind of going down this route of Duke kind of really can't do anything right to appease Chase, even though he's just trying to help. And
Poor thing.
yeah, it's so much fun. This is really great stuff. We had an interview with Indy Hartwell that wasn't really very important. We had happy hour at Fallon's bar, where Kiana James walks in with mini Kiana James, and she tries to buy the bar. And Fallon's like, no. And then we get Hank Walker versus Channing Lorenzo. That's pretty much it. She's like, no.
Who's Mini Kiana?
She's just I don't know her name, but she just like follows Kiana around. She's like her assistant, looks exactly like Kiana.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
This whole Kiana James gimmick sucks. It's bad.
Yeah, she's one of the ones I just can't come around to.
Yeah. There are some people that are really looking good on NXT.
Yeah.
Like they have so much good talent. Especially Quincy Elliott, who we haven't seen very much. He's got immense charisma.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, Hank Walker versus Channing Lorenzo. The security guard loses. Channing Lorenzo stacks, picks up the win. Yeah.
What is the point?
Sorry. Being a security guard isn't good enough.
I'm literally so confused. I don't understand why he's even like a part of this.
Mobster beats security guard. We then had the Grayson Waller effect between Braun Breaker and Von Wagner, because apparently Von Wagner is Braun Breaker's next challenger. And
NXT is full of jokes.
Von Wagner's like finding himself as a wrestler, as a promo especially. He still doesn't have it though. You can't take him seriously.
He's never gonna have it.
Which is a shame because it's mostly just in his voice, and I don't think there's much he can change about that aside from getting some voice training. But like, no matter what gimmick they give him, it's not gonna fit. Like,
no.
The fucking adventurer found a body in the woods, Von Wagner, that was friends with Kyle O'Reilly, didn't work. This fucking behemoth being managed by Robert Stone isn't working. Like, you have Robert Stone managing him. Have Robert Stone talk for him. Don't have Von Wagner talk anymore, for God's sake.
It's fucking... It's such a shame. I think that they like really want him to like figure it out, because I feel like they would have released him by now if they didn't care.
Yeah, like he would have been released in the last round.
Yeah, unless like he's got something on trips, which maybe.
It would be Shawn Michaels at this point, I think. Because Shawn Michaels could tell Triple H, hey, so this Von Wagner guy, he's like not very good. Just release. I feel
like Shawn, like maybe Von's like his like drinking buddy, and Shawn's like, no, I don't want to lose him.
You want to go to this Fallon's bar? Drink behind the alley by the dumpster? I got some great White Claws we could share.
Where the fuck is he from? He's got to be from like Minnesota.
I feel like it's Minnesota. There's no way you sound like that and you're from anywhere else.
Cal Bloom?
He is. Well, it doesn't say.
Birthplace, Osceola, Minnesota. Woo!
That's a Minnesotan right
Got
there.
him. Nail on the head.
So we then had a promo or an interview with Wesley. I don't think anything important happened there. Oh, he basically said like, I shouldn't have gotten past April. I think that was when Nash Carter got released. He said he shouldn't have made it as a singles guy. He's always been a tag team guy, but here he is with the North American Championship. He's fucking amazing. Wesley's the best.
Yeah, he is.
We then have a promo from Apollo Crews saying that he wants a shot at the NXT Championship, which would be a much better challenger than Von Wagner. It's Von Wagner's world, and you're just living in it.
I want a shirt that says that.
With like, it's like just that, but like Comic Sans.
Yeah, I don't want it to look good.
We then had JD McDonough versus Axiom. Incredible match. This, as you would expect from these two guys. Amazing. And JD McDonough wins via referee stoppage because he puts Axiom in this hold that Booker T sold incredibly. He was like, he put him in this arm bar or some kind of hold, and he's like, you can hear the shoulder pop. He's like freaking out about it on commentary, and Axiom is in pain. And the referee calls it, and incredible stuff. I'm actually really liking this JD McDonough gimmick where he's like surgical, wanting to cause pain.
I think he's a horrible person, but like, yeah, sure.
As an in-ring performer, and creative is doing a good job too with him. It's kind of like almost like a Patrick Bateman kind of gimmick, kind of like the aura of Patrick Bateman, but more like Dexter. You mix the two.
Yeah, I get it.
We then had Brutus Creed versus Damon Kemp in a I forget the match name for it, but it was a 5-minute match. It was supposed to be just in the ring for 5 minutes, and that's it. But Damon Kemp wins because Brutus Creed just attacked Damon with a chair for the DQ.
Brutus.
Yeah. I think Damon Kemp got the chair initially, lost it, and then Brutus was like, alright, I might as well use it. Everyone in this whole feud is amazing. I want to see more of this. I want to see the eventual payoff of this, which will be great stuff all around. We then got the main event. Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter for the NXT Women's Championships. And Katana and Kaden win via 450 splash. After the match, Zoe attacks Nikita, and then they break up. Yeah.
Oh.
It was poorly told because this whole time was supposed to be like, fucking, like Zoe's been pissed off. Like she's been kind of a lit wire, but I don't know, or a lit fuse.
Live wire.
Lit fuse, live wire, same thing. I don't know. They just kind of pulled the trigger so fast on this, and she just kind of went to this, like, had this attitude, the drop of a hat. So
yeah, that's
glad they're split up though.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
So that's NXT. We then had a Dynamite. We started off the night with Acclaimed and FTR versus Swerve and Our Glory and the Ass Boys. Acclaimed and FTR won via Big Rig. I tuned in late to this match. I caught the last couple minutes. I didn't think I missed that much because it was just a 8-man tag match. Nothing special. Then had MJF on the podcast Pardon My Take. They grabbed a clip of it where he cut a promo on Mox. It was all over social media that day and the day before, so. But Stokely's response to that promo was amazing. He cut a great promo, him by the water, very melodramatic. And he says MJF is dick riding Mox. And he drops the best line I've ever heard in all of pro wrestling. He says, the worst crime you can commit is dick riding without a license. And I just died. That was so fucking great.
Fucking hate that guy.
We then had I feel like they're gonna be siding with MJF in the match. They're gonna help MJF win. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I just do. Charge my phone. So we then had Ethan Page versus Eddie Kingston in the opening match for the Eliminator tournament, and Ethan Page wins via an avalanche Ego's Edge, which looked like it fucking hurt.
I saw a clip of that actually, and I was kind of impressed. I didn't expect that to be the case.
Yeah. It looks like the finals are probably going to be Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks, which is going to be awesome.
Oh, that's going to be annoying.
Yeah.
Like, in a good way, but, like, annoying.
Yeah. After that, we had a Dark Order and Roosh promo where it's the same shit. It's been happening. Roosh and Jose are like, 10, we love your vibe. Join us. And 10's like, no. So, nothing really comes out of that. We then get the Trustbusters in the ring, and Ari Daivari wants to exchange Jeeves SK for the TNT Championship.
What?
He you know VSK?
Oh.
He now goes by Jeeves SK as like a servant gimmick. It's great. Hold on, I'm answering a text about today's shoot.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, it's coming down to the wire. I've got to shoot in like 45 minutes. But we have Wardlow versus Ari Daivari for the TNT Championship, and Wardlow wins via Powerbomb Symphony very quickly. He calls out Hobbs, but Samoa Joe attacks Wardlow, breaking them up. We then get an interview with Jade and the Baddies, and it sets up Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose at Full Gear. We had a face-off between Britt Baker and Saraya, where Saraya delivers a very emotional promo saying that she is now 100% cleared, and it will be Britt versus Saraya at Full Gear. Then we had the Factory and Sanjay Dutt in a promo. The Best Friends walk in. This was fucking bizarre. So, Best Friends walk in. Factory and Sanjay and that group are there. That sets up Orange Cassidy versus Lee Johnson. But then they do some weird white flash fade. Trent and Chuck walk back up the stairs. The Factory are gone. And it's just Sanjay, Jay Lethal, and Satnam. And they're like, Trent and Chuck are like, hey. Or Trent's like, hey, Jay, I want to fight you. It's like, wait, what happened here? There were a lot more people a second ago.
What?
It was so bizarre. It was
fucking bizarre.
It feels like they got what they needed with the Orange Cassidy, Lee Johnson stuff, but then they're like, wait a minute, we have to set up Trent and Jay Lethal. Like, they just forgot. So, that happened. And then next we get Trent Beretta versus Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal wins via lethal injection, and Jeff Jarrett walks out, and they set up Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus Sting and Darby Allin at Full Gear. And then we get an interview with Jungle Boy, which isn't anything special. A promo from Jon Moxley, which is pretty good, calling out MJF. We got another Elite video package where they're still disappearing, but this time with a lot of Full Gear imagery. They're probably going to do Elite versus Lucha Bros, or Death Triangle at Full Gear for the Trios titles.
Oh.
And then we had Jamie Hayter versus Sky Blue, which is a lot longer than a lot of people anticipated. It was 5 minutes. It might be a record for a women's match in AEW. And Jamie wins via Ripcord Lariat, which is basically a Rainmaker. We then had Lance Archer beating up Ricky Starks backstage, taking Ricky out for the first match. It was supposed to happen on Rampage, but because of this, Ricky could not compete, so they had to postpone it. And then we had the main event, Bryan Danielson versus Sammy Guevara in a 2 out of 3 falls match. First fall goes to Danielson because out of the gate, Sammy throws a chair at Danielson, which takes Danielson out for quite a while and fucking busts him open. But it was a good strategy from Sammy. Kind of like lose the first fall, but he's out for a while. Second fall goes to Guevara after a GTH. And then after a while, Danielson gets the third fall with a label lock. It was a lot of fun. And we'll set up the Fatal 4-Way at Full Gear.
Sorry. When is Full Gear again?
It is next weekend, a week from today.
On a Sunday?
No, Saturday.
Okay.
We're going to do the predictions next podcast.
Gotcha. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because the podcast is going to be before Full Gear. Why?
I might have to do an absentee ballot on that one.
What do you have planned next weekend?
I have to get my hair cut. Do you see all this?
Oh.
I have to get my hair cut and I've got to get my Jamie Hayter bang.
Okay, gotcha. Well,
I've had this plan for a while.
It will do your absentee ballot.
Yeah. Also, this doesn't have anything to do with wrestling, but congrats to everyone who voted. Apparently, young people made up 90%, or not 90%, but yeah, the most young people voted for Democrats the most of any age group. So the red wave that everybody was predicting was thwarted by that.
This is not an election podcast. I
know, I just thought it was an interesting factoid.
So then we had an Impact, this was a lot of fun. We started off with Joe Hendry versus Brian Myers, where Hendry won the Digital Media Championship via standing ovation. We had a Giselle Shaw promo where Jay Vidal, who's now Giselle's like right-hand man,
good for him.
He puts together a video package where everyone's talking like great things about Giselle Shaw, but Jay dubs in Giselle Shaw whenever they name someone. And I think it was supposed to be about Frankie Kazarian, but he just took that footage and dubbed Giselle. It was great. We then had a Violent by Design video package where Alan Angels and Big Khan introduced themselves. We had another match in the X Division tournament between Trey Miguel and Mike Bailey, and Trey Miguel wins via Kenny King interference. And then we have a Death Dolls promo where Jessica's basically like, I kind of want to drink right now after getting my first loss. Or Taya's like, let's go for drinks. And Jessica's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Rosemary's like, no, don't go for drinks. Don't drink. But I think she does anyway. We then had Bhupinder Gujjar versus G Sharp, and Bhupinder wins via Gargoyle Spear. We had a promo between Heath and Rhino, leading up to them versus the major players at Overdrive. We had Chelsea Green versus Mickey James. Mickey wins via sneaky pin. Promo from Macklin. Basically, Tommy Dreamer challenges him to a match. I don't want to see Tommy Dreamer wrestle anymore. I just want to see Macklin fight Josh.
Yeah.
We had Zicky Dice versus Bully Ray. Bully Ray wins via powerbomb. This was so great. This was so funny because immediately as soon as the bell rings, Johnny Swinger gets in the ring and he's like, "Hold it." He goes under the ring, grabs a table, sets it up, and is like, "Zicky, put him through the table." Even though that would have caused a disqualification, and commentary is like, "Okay, sure." As soon as Zicky Dice tries, Bully says "nuh-uh," gives him a bully bomb. Moose comes out, attacks Bully, and spears Bully through the table that was set up. So that match is happening at Overdrive. Bully Ray and Moose. We had a Sami Callihan promo, talking shit about VBD. We had Jordan Grace promo leading up to her versus Giselle. And then Chelsea Green announced that she's leaving Impact. She said she's going home. Home might be WWE at this point. Which honestly...
Ooh, actually, now that you say it like that, yeah.
Yeah. If only she could bring Matt Cardona with her. But Cardona's busy with Impact right now.
And Cardona's very explicitly said, he's like, I don't want to go back to Zack Ryder.
Well, he said he's fine going back to WWE, but doesn't want to go as Zack Ryder. He wants to be Matt Cardona. Which would be really cool, because he's built a huge name for himself since leaving. And then we had Giselle Shaw versus Jordan Grace for the Knockouts Championship. Grace wins with a Grace Driver after a fantastic match. After the match, Masha comes out, attacks Jordan with a chair, and gives her a snowplow into a pile of chairs. But that's not all. PCO. We go back to the desert. Slow zoom on the dirt pile that PCO is buried under, and you see a hand erupt from underneath the dirt. So PCO is alive. And we're down to the last two shows. We had SmackDown. We started off the night with the Usos versus the New Day for the Undisputed Tag titles and the right of longest reigning tag champs. Usos win via 1D. We had a promo from the Bloodline where Roman's like, hell yeah, let's celebrate. Let's have a special moment together. We then kicked off the SmackDown World Cup with Shinsuke Nakamura versus Santos Escobar. Santos wins via an Avalanche Phantom Driver, and this match was awesome. We had a Bray Wyatt and LA Knight promo, which is a weird mix, but sure. LA Knight.
Which we didn't see all of, but we saw just in time for the best part.
It's because we had a little bit of buffering on Sling. We then had the 6-pack challenge for number one contendership for the women's title. Liv Morgan versus Xia Li versus Sonya Deville versus Lacey Evans versus Shotzi versus Raquel Rodriguez. Shotzi wins with the DDT onto, I think it was Lacey Evans. But this match featured a very botched spot from Raquel and Liv. It was supposed to send Raquel and Liv through a table, but did not. After that, we had Shotzi in a promo with Emma, where Emma's happy for Shotzi. Shotzi makes a joke about Emma crushing on Madcap, which is funny because they're dating in real life. Shayna then walks in, talks shit to Shotzi, and Ronda then walks in. Shayna starts choking out Shotzi, and Shotzi versus Shayna is set up for next week. We had an interview with Ricochet. Imperium then walks in. Gunther talks some shit to Ricochet, basically like, you already lost, got embarrassed twice. We then had Jinder Mahal versus Braun Strowman for the World Cup tournament. Braun wins via powerbomb. Then we had what was supposed to be Zelina Vega versus B-Fab, but the Viking Raiders show up. Sarah Logan returns in ring, and both factions are attacked by the Viking Raiders. Their look is really cool now, and their new entrance is awesome. If only they could replace Sarah Logan with like Max the Impaler. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's more of a, I don't know. I don't like them. They make me uncomfortable. Sarah Logan's the worst, etc., etc. I don't trust Eric because she's the worst. So
Ivar's great though.
As far as we know,
he's great. And then the main event, so to speak, Roman Reigns' special moment, a little moment of celebration. He's about to give the Usos some props until Butch and Ridge come out. They talk some shit, but then Sheamus returns after being laid out by the Usos, having his arm snapped. But as he's trying to deliver a promo, the mic's not working. It keeps cutting out. Completely ruins the moment, all because of shitty tech. The whole brawl breaks out. Drew McIntyre comes out. We've got the fourth 4 War Games, because it looks like it's Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre versus the Bloodline, but who is their 5th? My guess is Kevin Owens.
That's a good guess.
Makes a lot of sense. And then finally...
It's Shibata.
Oh shit. Really touring. Or it's Great Muta.
There you go. That's how they allowed Shinsuke to go over there. Like, well,
Muta's final match in War Games.
Oh,
doesn't
God.
even make it to New Year. Alright, lastly, we had Rampage. Started off with the Christian Cage Luchasaurus promo. Jungle Boy comes out and challenges Luchasaurus to a steel cage match at Full Gear. We had an interview with Death Triangle where Pac's trying to convince Phoenix to, use some heel tactics. We then had Brian Cage versus Dante Martin in the Eliminator tournament, where Brian Cage wins via Weapon X, which is a very cool finisher. We had an interview with Lee Moriarty. Hook walks in and teases Lee versus Hook for the FTW belt. Then had House of Black video package, where it looks like they're returning soon. Got them all kind of resurrecting, so to speak. We then had Rush versus Bandito in the Eliminator tournament, and Bandito wins via roll-up. This is a little bit overbooked, kind of, with John Silver walking out and Jose getting distracted and everything, but
yeah,
it was still a ton of fun. We then had a Claudio Castagnoli and Jake Hager promo. No idea what this is leading to. Probably a match between them on Dynamite before their Fatal 4-Way. But anytime Jake Hager shows up, I just laugh.
He's their Von Wagner.
Yeah. Except he's better. He's better than Von Wagner. Don't insult Hager like that.
I'll insult Hager as much as I need to.
We then had Nyla Rose versus Kayla Sparks in her TBS.
Who's from Schenectady, New York.
Yeah, she is. This is Nyla Rose's kind of title open challenge, even though she's not really the champion. But then Jade and the baddies show up and get laid out. We then, as the main event, get Lee Johnson versus Orange Cassidy for the All Atlantic Championship, and Orange Cassidy wins via beach break. Kind of a underwhelming match for the main event.
Yeah.
Would have much preferred Roosh versus Bandito, honestly. But that's our recap. Let's talk about the top 5 matches of the week.
You're gonna want to have to rush through this because you gotta be out of here.
I'm trying my best. I'm really trying. So best match of the week, hands down, Will Ospreay versus Tetsuya Naito. Then I'd say Bayley versus Bianca Belair from Crown Jewel. After that, I would say Master Wato and El Desperado versus Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi. And then I would say the Usos versus Ridge and Butch. And then lastly, Ren Narita versus Sonata.
Okay.
Highly recommend that New Japan Battle Autumn show. All right, and let's quickly make some predictions. Let's speed run some fucking predictions right now.
All right, can you take mine down because I don't have the ability to right now.
Okay, I will try my best. So Impact, Overdrive, matches. There's only 6 matches. So we have first off Mickie James versus Taylor Wilde in a career-threatening match.
I'm going with Mickie James.
Okay. Next up, we have Bully Ray versus Moose in a tables match.
Who are you going with? Who are you going with?
Oh, I'm going with Mickie James. Bully Ray versus Moose in a tables match.
I'm gonna go with Moose.
Interesting choice. Okay.
I don't know why. I haven't been watching enough. These are blind choices.
I'm picking Bully Ray because he got sent through the table on this week's Impact. There is still a go home, but Bully Ray also has that trophy, so he's in line for a title. We then have the Death Dolls versus Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz. It's not confirmed who is in that match. It could be Jessica, Taya Valkyrie, and or Rosemary. So, no idea at this point. But I'm going with Death Dolls.
I will also be going with Death Dolls.
All right. Next up, we have Heath and Rhino versus the major players, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, for the tag team championships.
Heath and Rhino have that?
Yeah. They won it off of OGK.
Oh yeah. I'd say Heath and Rhino.
Okay. I'm going with major players.
Okay.
I feel like they need some gold. They might have taken the digital media title off of Myers for a reason to give him the tag titles. Next, we have the tournament final for the vacant X Division Championship between Black Taurus and Trey Miguel.
I'm going with Black Taurus as wishful thinking.
I am too. I feel like they won't just want to give it right back to Trey Miguel.
I'd hope they wouldn't.
And then finally, we have Josh Alexander versus Frankie Kazarian for the Impact World Championship.
I'm going with Josh.
Yeah, all confidence in Josh. All right. So, I don't think we're doing live watch along for Overdrive, but we will be doing a podcast next week. I'll be doing a podcast next weekend before Full Gear, which will be predictions for Full Gear, and then we'll be doing a live watch along for Full Gear, right?
I should be back in time. Yeah.
Okay. If anything, I could start it, and then you can come in at any point. But it's gonna be a fucking AEW card, so it's gonna go till midnight, probably later.
I will need you to park the car, so you might have to take an intermission.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Follow and subscribe. We'll be back on Tuesday for our 2K22 stream, and then Saturday for our our regularly scheduled podcast. Twitter, Spotify, Twitch, and YouTube is all Pinfall Podcast. Liz, would you like to close us out?
If you join us today, thank you so much. And if you join us in the future, thank you so much. I will actually post these on Spotify soon. I think I'm pretty much caught up. With that said, please join us, as Mark said, next weekend. Well, join Mark next weekend for the Mark show.
Yes. Predictions for Full Gear, which will be phoned in or absentee balloted from Liz.
Yeah, Mark won't look at my choices until he has to.
And Liz right now is the Pinfall Podcast prediction champion with the egg. But that might change come the next podcast depending on how Overdrive goes. And then next weekend, you also need to write in predictions for Historic Crossover.
Did you like that?
No, I didn't, because it shouldn't be wearing a hat. You are disgracing the integrity of that championship.
I'm giving the championship a hat.
Yes, disgracing it. All right, thank you all so much for watching. See you on Tuesday for 2K22, and if not, this next weekend for predictions for Full Gear and Historic Crossover. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy. We'll see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.